As an athlete, you need to have high levels of trust in your skills. No matter how talented you are physically, if that's not accompanied by high levels of trust, you're never going to reach your full potential. Which is why in this video, you're going to learn how to build trust in your skills as an athlete. Hey there, I'm Eli Straw, mental performance coach and founder of SuccessStartsWithin.com. As an athlete, you need to have high levels of trust in your skills. The reason is because no matter how talented you are physically, if you're lacking trust, you're never going to perform up to your potential. You're always going to be worried. You're always going to be at the mercy of performance anxiety, fear of failure, perfectionism, because you don't truly trust in your skills. But trust is not easy to develop. There are so many things that work against your trust, which is why trust, just like with confidence and trust, they're very interchangeable. When we're talking about confidence and execution and trusting in your skills, they're pretty similar. But they need to be developed and built in a proactive way, which means you need to be making use of some sports psychology tools and putting them into practice on a consistent basis. So what you're going to learn now are a few different strategies that you can use to build trust in your skills. Strategy number one is you want to list out your strengths and your weaknesses. Get yourself a piece of paper and list out all the strengths that you have within your sport. These can be physical strengths and these can also be mental strengths. Just make your list. Then, once you're finished with your list of strengths, you want to make a list of weaknesses. Now, why would we want to make a list of weaknesses if the aim is to build trust? Well, because what you're going to do is you're going to make your list of weaknesses and then you're going to make sure that you're actually working on improving those weaknesses. So then what's going to happen as you reflect on this list, which that's the second part of the strategy, you want to make sure that you reflect on your list of strengths every single day and then also reflect on your weaknesses. But when you reflect on your weaknesses, instead of reflecting on the fact that they are weaknesses, you're going to begin reflecting on the fact that you're working on improving them. So what this means is you begin to, every single day, really reflect and focus on and remind yourself of your strengths, but then you also remind yourself that, hey, I am improving every single day as well. So I'm working to improve my skills that right now might not be my strengths, and you then build confidence in the fact that slowly over time, those are becoming strengths. And the more you reflect on those weak areas of your game, and as you reflect on them naturally in your mind, you're going to remember how you're improving on them physically and in real life. That's going to also simultaneously build your trust in those. So strategy number one is you want to list out your strengths and weaknesses. Then strategy number two is you want to mentally rehearse your skills. Mental rehearsal is also known as visualization. And what you do with mental rehearsal is you just simply imagine yourself performing your skills. The reason that mental rehearsal works to build trust is because it works off the principle of developing memory. So when you think about how can I build confidence, you probably immediately shoot to, I need to see myself succeed. And that's very common because that's true. You have to have experience of succeeding in order to have confidence. It's very difficult to be confident in something if you don't really have the memory of seeing yourself do it well. The problem is, how do you get this confidence? How do you develop this trust if you need this trust and confidence in order to perform well, but you need to perform well in order to build this trust and confidence? Well, we can kind of turn inward and we can leverage this idea of building memory through the use of mental rehearsal and visualization. What you're going to do is you're going to choose what aspects of your game do you lack the most trust in. Then you're going to sit down every single day and visualize for just a couple of minutes. Just see yourself performing your skills. When you visualize, something that's very important is to make sure that you're seeing yourself as though you're actually doing it. So from a first-person perspective. Don't watch as if you're watching a movie. Be in the movie. You want to make sure you go into detail. And then while you're actually mentally rehearsing, you really want to feel confident. You want to feel the confidence and the trust that you're trying to build. And then afterwards, really feel successful and see yourself successfully perform your skills. The more you do this, the more trust you're going to build in your skills. And then strategy number three is you want to build trust through your words. The way you speak to yourself is going to have a direct impact on the way that you feel. This means that if you're thinking negative thoughts, likely you're going to doubt yourself. You're not going to be as confident. You're not going to trust in yourself as much. We want to change that. If your aim is to build trust in your skills, you want to make sure that you're speaking to yourself. You are thinking in a way as though you already have that trust. This is very tricky because naturally it feels like I don't trust myself. In order for me to tell myself that I do trust myself, I need to see myself perform well. But once again, that trust and that internal belief has to come first. So what you can begin doing is make a list of all the negative and unhelpful thoughts that you have. This is known as cognitive restructuring. And then you take that list, you examine it, and you decide, okay, these are not helpful. They're not helping me build trust. You really get to that understanding. Then you create an alternative for each of the statements. These alternatives, they don't have to be fluffy. They don't have to make you feel uncomfortable. They just need to be true. True in the sense that they match your future identity. You want them to match the trust that you're trying to build. Therefore, you need to say things like, I trust in my skills. I know I'm a great player. And get very specific. You can kind of mimic and tailor this list of positive statements to the list of strengths, right? So if you say, for example, you're a baseball player, one of my strengths is I have really good power at the plate. Well, one of your statements needs to be, I'm a strong hitter and I have good power at the plate. You are telling yourself that, you're reminding yourself that. Then once you make your list, you really want to make sure you're repeating it to yourself every day. Because what happens once you begin to repeat these statements to yourself every day is that they actually alter your natural thought patterns, which means it's going to be easier to think this way. Therefore, as you go into a game, it's going to be more natural for you to think, I do trust in my skills, rather than saying, I don't know if I have it today. So strategy number 3 is you want to make sure you're building trust through your words by using cognitive restructuring. And then the last strategy number 4, is performance evaluation. You want to make sure that you've got in place a really good performance evaluation system. The worst thing that can happen is you see yourself perform well for 2 or 3 games. But then after that 4th game, you don't play so well. Naturally, you automatically react in the way that you've reacted in the past, which means you start to beat yourself up. You kind of get down on yourself. You identify immediately all the things you did wrong, and you begin to nitpick yourself. What's going to happen to your trust? What's going to happen to your confidence? It's going to plummet. Because you're pretty much saying that everything that just happened was a fluke. You're getting upset with yourself, and you're identifying all these mistakes you made. Now, I know you're going at that, and you're doing it with the intent to improve. It's coming from a good place, but we just need to kind of change the execution of it. And the best way to change the execution of it is to put into practice a really good performance evaluation system. The performance evaluation system that I like the most, it's the simplest. It's just a couple of questions. After a game, you first immediately ask yourself, what did I do well? If you're really struggling right now with being a perfectionist, and you're really struggling with trusting in yourself, and after every single game you find yourself nitpicking your performance, I suggest you do this on a piece of paper, or you can do it in your phone. But write down a list of all the things that you did well, and maybe aim for about 4 or 5 items on that list. Then, once you make that list, reflect on it. Even if you felt like you had the crappiest game of your life, put some time and force yourself to reflect on the things that you did well. The reason you want to force yourself to do that is because your main objective is building trust, which means you have to take anything you can from every practice and every game to build that memory of success, to help you improve that experience in your mind of you succeeding. Then, once you've outlined all that, it's time to look at what you can improve. In this performance evaluation, you're not giving yourself the opportunity to really beat yourself up, because that's not going to do any good. You already know you played badly. You already feel crappy. What's the point of beating yourself up? You're not getting anything valuable from that. So the second part of the exercise, or the performance evaluation, is to ask yourself, where can I improve? You're not saying, what did I do wrong? How crappy my day was? What the hell was I doing? You're saying, where can I improve? And just the same as you did with what did I do well, make yourself a list. Maybe aim for 3, 4, or 5 items on that list as well. Now, once you have that listed out, you put that into practice for this following week or the next training session. And you say, okay, this is what I can improve upon. This is how I'm actually going to improve it. It's very similar to what you were doing with outlining your strengths and weaknesses. The weaknesses serve as information for you to improve. Where you can improve after a game, likewise, it's information for you to improve. Now, these 4 strategies, they are very, very powerful at helping you build trust in your skills. What I suggest is that you choose about 2 of them to really begin with. One of the ones I really highly suggest that you use is the performance evaluation system, and then choose one of the other 3 to accompany that. And the important thing to remember is that repetition is key. If you want to build trust in yourself, you have to consistently put these strategies into practice. Thank you for watching, and I wish you the best of success in all that you do. I hope you enjoyed this training. If you did, please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. We put out new trainings each week on sports psychology and the mental game. If you have any questions about this training or any sports psychology topic, please leave a comment below. If you want to learn more about myself or Success Starts Within, head over to successstartswithin.com.